This is the art kit for ink. So there is walnut ink right here, and there's a bamboo brush. There are 2 markers, Sharpies. There is a dipping pen. Um, there's also an inkwell, another inkwell. This has India ink in it, black India ink. So I'm showing you the ink kit because it is Inktober coming up. And for those of you who know and enjoy Inktober, that is an art challenge that was created by Jake Becker. Where every day in October you are to create some sort of art project, not even a project, probably just some doodling and sketching. And there are prompts for every day. So I will share with you the prompts, but I know that the first prompt is fish, which is interesting. But then you would just kind of interrogate the idea of fish in your own way, and people get really creative when it comes to Inktober. So if you open up your inkwell, there's like this little droppy, lid, droppy in so many ways, drippy. I don't know what you call it. But you can like squeeze the top and suck up some ink and stuff. Some of them might be clogged. Well, probably most of them are clogged, so you might need like a little paper clip or something to unclog it if you decide to use that. Otherwise, when you go to lay this down, you need to lay it on its side and make sure it doesn't roll off the table. But I'm just going to put it off camera right there. The inkwell. Kids are always spilling this thing. Like, this stuff is going to get everywhere. So again, put it somewhere where it's not going to get knocked over or fall off or, have some sort of accident and get all over your clothes, your bedding, everything. So India ink will stain your fingers a little bit. So just be very careful with that. And this is not tattoo ink quality. So tattoo artists do use India ink. This stuff is drawing quality, so not medical grade at all. So like if you try to give yourself a tattoo, you might get an infection and that would be nasty. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. What I do want you to do is you're going to try your different tools. This is the pen tool with the nib, handle, nib. This is metal. And when you go to dip it in your ink, don't try and submerge the entire ink tip, the nib here. You only want to kind of get the ink up to here. So there's like a little opening in the metal that will suck some of the ink up and then slowly release it. There are 2 pieces of metal that connect like this that come to a point, and the split in between is called the spline, and it feeds ink up that spline, and then ink flows down the spline as well. And I will tell you how this works. So with the walnut ink, also be careful. If you are allergic to nuts, I would not recommend opening this or getting near it. Don't consume it. Wash your hands really well. So here's the walnut ink. I'm just going to dip the end of the nib in there. And then you want to draw in a way so that, here, let me see if I can focus this for you. Maybe. So the nib, if I put it on its side, looks like this. And you want the paper to be underneath it like this when you're drawing. You don't want to have it upturned like that. That would make it like really scratchy. So make sure the nib is turned so the curve is going upwards like that. And then start drawing on your paper. So here's just some, scratch marks. Oh, I didn't get enough, or I was playing around too much. So let's kind of zoom in on this and refocus. So just kind of creating some hatch marks. So this is kind of a rich brown, darkish in value. So these are hatch marks. Just scribble with it a little bit. I made this walnut ink with students from a couple years back in the class, and I have gone and collected more walnuts. I'll show you those here in a minute, but if you would like to make some walnut ink of your own, you can pick up some walnuts at the school. So yeah, the ink goes a long way, just dipping like a third of the edge of the nib in. Okay, so there's the walnut ink. Let's try the India ink. And again, don't try to dip too much in there. I just got like a third of it. Let's try making some dots. So this is really nice. And it feels really smooth on the paper. So yeah, try and like draw or write something. There we go. That just came out of nowhere. But you can doodle this. I mean, it feels really smooth and good on the paper. So I really like this nib. There are different nibs in there. Some have bigger ends that make bigger marks. Some are finer and make finer marks. I know that if you gently push down, there's more ink that will flow down between the splines, so you'll get a thicker line. And then if you release pressure and go up, it goes from a thick to thin line. So you can vary your line weight, much like the ink pen in the chrome canvas tool. So, this is sweet. All right. Definitely keep around some water to clean off your pen and nib with. If I do that. Okay, so there's also your bamboo brush, and you can dip it, just the end of it, like a third of it also, into your ink and try out the different marks that it can make. If you set it down and then move quickly and lift up, you get these long, broad leaves that are reminiscent of bamboo leaves, and maybe like a little stem off of it, like so. You can create the bamboo segments, like so, also. And maybe 2 leaves like that. But really cool brush. The good thing about this is it leaves some nice textures and values in there. So it's dark and light values. If you wanted to use the India ink, I don't recommend putting it on here. I'm just doing that so you can see it on camera. I'm going to reshape the end of the brush because it can like easily like get all rough like that. So I'm just going to reshape it and then dip it into the India ink just a little bit. And then you can see that, you get much broader strokes than the pen tools. That this brush is really nice to get like that, look of flowing ink and pigment. So that's the brush tool. And if you, again, choose to use the walnut ink, be really careful about getting it on your skin, especially if you have any kind of allergies. Um, and again, the India ink is not tattoo quality India ink. So rinse it off and reshape it. And don't leave it in the water. Don't leave anything in the water because it will degrade the brush and the nib. So I just dried them both off and I'm setting them on the table. The next tools that you have are the Sharpie, and a lot of you are familiar with this, and you can just kind of draw with that. It has kind of a smell to it, which is, annoying sometimes when you're doing big drawings. And then you have a finer one, a fine line tool that you can really get super small details with. And yeah, so you've got several tools in here that you can use. Some of you will not have the brush tool, the bamboo brush tool. Some of you will just have like a regular brush. Not that the bamboo brush isn't regular, but like a synthetic brush, because we just did not have enough to go around. So try that out too. It'll be very similar to this, only give you a finer line. Okay, so that is your ink kit. You will check it out if you are interested in experimenting with ink, or even taking on the Inktober challenge. Let's see, maybe I'll draw my little fish right here, because the first day, the prompt is fish, and I like my fish with the big lips. So there we go. And then let's see. Little. And my scales. So you could have a lot of fun with this. I might even do a school of fish. But yeah, every day you would just draw something from the prompt, and I will share with you the prompt. Maybe today, maybe not today. Okay, so there's one fish, and I'm done with my experimental work. I'll probably do a better fish later. I'll show you. But just a little fish there for the first day. Enjoy your kit. Oh, and before I go, make sure you always clean your brushes and dry them out with a towel and reform it and let it thoroughly dry, and wipe down your pen tools, wash them off, wipe them down, and that you put your lids very tightly on these pens so that they don't dry out. These will need to go back into the kits with your inkwells. Make sure if you're not using your inkwell, you close it up tight and like really, get that on there tight, and be really careful with the walnut ink and just snap on that lid. And then how you put that back in the container, you've got to do it very carefully, because you don't want to spill ink at all. So the first thing that goes back into the kit is the inkwell. And I'm just tilting it sideways and sliding it in like that. Then the next thing is the walnut ink, and again, tilting it and sliding it in so that it doesn't splatter and open up inside the tube. And then I would just drop in my other tools and then put the lid back on when you're done, which there it is. And remember, this end up. or open this end. That's it. So again, enjoy.